I miss the way TV was when I was like. Well, I'll start by saying I remember like 2009, like old Cartoon Network, like fucking Ben 10 Alien Force or whatever had came out. And I don't know. We lived in this shitty little trailer in Graniteville. As a kid, I fucking loved it. I don't know why I loved it. I still look back on it with fond memories, but my mama hates it whenever I mention the place because she fucking hated it. And I understand because she had a whole other life going on at that time. And I don't even want to get into it because I don't know everything. I only know the little bits of shit that I've been told. But from my perspective, I fucking loved it. And I just remember I had a little TV in my room. I had my bunk bed, my blue bunk bed. I fucking loved that bed. And I don't know. I fucking loved it. And on the TV, we would watch Nickelodeon all the time. And I remember there was this show, and I still haven't been able to find this show since. But there was this weird game show where people would sit on chairs in front of like this mouth or something, and they would like answer questions, and if they got it wrong, there'd be like this fart sound, and then they would get like the chair would go back into the teeth, and they'd be eaten or get the fuck out of here. And I don't know. They had the whole slime thing because it was Nickelodeon. It was definitely a Nickelodeon game show. And I remember every time that show would come on, I'd be eating it. And my Papa Mike, he would bring over like these strawberry ice cream things. I don't know what they're called, but it was fucking good. I don't like strawberry ice cream anymore, but I guess I used to because I used to eat the shit out of those. And I just remember that all the time. I remember I had this weird memory there. That like I guess nobody else remembers, but there was this kid, I remember, there was this kid who lived around. I don't know exactly where he lived, but he lived on the street, and I played with him a lot. And his grandma, Kimbra, she lived right next to us. I met her again years later. That was cool. But on back to the story, I remember his house wasn't far. His house, you could see his house from mine, but I don't know exactly how many houses down it was. Alright, and he had a swing set that was better than mine. Alright, but he was such a little asshole, he would never let me play on it. So one day I said, well, fuck him, I'm not going to wait for permission. So when he was off doing whatever, I just went to his house and started playing on it. But he's seen me from my house. So in my yard, he's screaming, he's not coming to me to tell me, he's in my yard screaming to me, John, get off my swing set, like a little fucking brat. And obviously my mom hears. So whenever I do get off and, we argue, whatever, I go inside, my mom's like, so what's this about John, get off my swing set? And I remember that fucking little asshole. I'll never forget that, man. I have all kinds of weird memories there. I loved playing in the backyard where these trees kind of came together in a cool canopy-like way. It was like my little woods I used to hang out in. That shit was cool, man. I had my leapfrog magnetized to the back window. It was one of those things where you put the letter in and it would tell you what the letter was and what sound it made and like what you could use the letter for. Like L, L is for leapfrog or some shit. Like, I don't know. It was fucking great and I loved it. And like, I might have even had one with numbers, or you could like add with numbers. I might have had that too. Like, I remember like playing with Play-Doh, and my mama told me like, oh, don't put the different colors of Play-Doh together, or you'll mix them up. And I didn't fucking listen. I still did that shit. That shit was great. I made me a hamburger. I made a hamburger out of Play-Doh, but obviously because I stuck it together, I couldn't get the colors back the way they were. You know what I mean? It was bad, but I fucking loved it. I loved everything. I remember the old cable boxes, man. The cable box was cool, man, because if you lost the remote, there were buttons on the cable box you could press. Like, there was a guide button, there were arrow buttons, so you could go through the menu and pick what TV show or what channel you wanted to watch. It was great. I remember when On Demand became a thing, man. I mean, like, it was probably a thing before me, but I remember when we first got it, that shit was cool. Alright, like, I remember before I got cable, I was stuck watching PBS Kids. fucking Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood would come on that shit. And I didn't like Mr. Rogers because I was a kid and I wanted to watch cartoons, and that was some real life shows. It wasn't until I got older I was able to appreciate Mr. Rogers. But still, as a kid, I remember watching Dinosaur Train and Wild Kratts. Like, PBS Kids was the shit. Alright, and if I wanted to watch cable, I had to go to my grandma's house, where my grandma on my mom's side, she had Dish Network, which is a piece of shit. Fucking, I hate Dish Network. Satellite anything is fucking ass. But they had cable or satellite. I guess satellite's different. But they had this channel called Boomerang. And Boomerang used to be the shit. Like, right now, as of recording this, Boomerang still exists, but it's ass. Back in the day, it was fucking awesome. They had this, like, retro aesthetic. Like, they would have, like, the toys move around and the bumpers. Like, the old bumpers were so fucking cool, dude. And if you remember that shit, like, if you remember Boomerang, you remember the hype, dude. Like in between a show, like some badass bass would be playing it. Look at the gorilla for sale, got a gorilla for sale. Yeah, like that shit was badass, man. Like some fucking Hanna-Barbera shit would come on, like fucking the Jetsons and the Flintstones. Like that, Boomerang was how I saw the Jetsons Flintstone crossover. Like, that shit was a big deal before I was born, and I got to see that shit. And it was a big deal to me. I remember seeing commercials for it. I was like, no way! They're in the same world? Like, that was before cinematic universes. Before cinematic... I was there when Avengers came out. When the first Avengers movie came out, I went with my Papa David and Nana Vinda to the damn movie theater, and we saw that shit. And I didn't even see Iron Man or Hulk or any of the movies that came out before that yet. Avengers was my first MCU movie. That shit was cool as fuck, dude. I'll never forget it, man. I'll never forget it. There's so much cool shit I'm glad I got to see in my time. You know what I mean? Because I know there's going to be people in the future that wish they could have got to see it. Like, I remember the fucking iPhone, dude. Like, I remember all the new iPhones and shit. Like, I remember Plants vs. Zombies, man, like when that came out. I remember when Five Nights at Freddy's was brand new. Like, I didn't know what it was, but I kept hearing people talk about it. I was in 4th grade, alright, and my friend Tyler, he came up to me, and he asked me, he's like, hey man, have you heard of Five Nights at Freddy's? And I was like, yeah, I love Freddy Krueger. Like, I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. But I remember 4th grade, 2014, before the 3rd game came out, that's when I got into Five Nights at Freddy's. That shit was so cool. I remember the Living Tombstone songs when they first came out. Like, fucking, when Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was coming out, that was the peak of Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, that was when the theories started amping up, dude. Like, ooh, dude, that shit was so cool. Like, I'll never forget that time, dude. I'll never forget. I used to watch YouTube on a Nintendo 2DS that I got for Christmas. It was blue and black. That shit was awesome. I broke it, but I had a lot of exclusive shit on there I could never get back. It came with Mario Kart 7 pre-installed. I got this game on there where you could get stickers, and like there was like a bunny mascot for it, and I unlocked a bunch of stickers, and I was able to put them on the home menu of the Nintendo. Like, it was fucking cool, and I'll never be able to get that back. I'll never be able to see it again, like, cause it's broken, it's long gone, it's probably been thrown away, and I'll never get that. But I'll always remember it in here. That shit matters to me, dude. I fucking love it. I'll never forget that shit. I remember when Gravity Falls was really important to me, dude. But I was one of those thousands or maybe even millions. I don't know how many people were watching. But I remember when that episode came out where it was revealed that what the portal was for underneath the Mystery Shack, what Stan was using the portal for. And that shit, I was there, dude, when the brother comes out of the portal at the end. I was one of those millions of people that were like, oh shit, because I remember people had theorized before, alright, that he had a twin brother, because the license plate on his car said the Stanley Mobile, but everybody thought his name was Stanford. So everybody thought the twin brother was called Stanford, but I guess because everybody guessed that, the creators had to switch it up on us. But still, man, that shit was so cool, man. I remember I was one of the ones who knew there was going to be a twin brother before it was revealed. And then when it was revealed, we were like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And it was such a big fucking deal, dude. And then there was a huge gap between episodes after that. It was horrible. It was horrible, dude. And like, it's not like waiting a week. We waited months for episodes to come out. Like, shit, don't even get me started on Steven Universe. I used to like that show before I realized it was complete doo-doo dog shit. And, like, you had to wait months for episodes to come out for that show. And that's just because Cartoon Network fucking sucked. Like, when I was growing up, Cartoon Network was cool, dude, because I remember, like, Cartoon Network was the first channel that had a show where I wanted to know what was going to happen next. Adventure Time and Regular Show were their two big titans, alright, of Cartoon Network. And both of them had continuing stories. And even though Regular Show is a little more episodic, that ended up being my favorite show. Adventure Time was one of those shows where there were theorists and shit for it. Like, everybody was trying to figure out, like, was it like a nuclear holocaust or whatever? Like, I don't know. That shit was fucking crazy. And I remember being really interested in that and wanting to know what was going to happen next in the story. And I kind of fell off towards, like, season 6 or whatever. I'm glad we had HBO Max, which is now just Max. I'm so mad that they changed it. But I'm glad that we had that so I can go back. I was able to go back and watch the stuff I missed. But anyways, this camera's finna die. I just wanted to talk about some shit I remembered, so I can look back at this video and be like, I still remember.